So on the 6th of December last year, 2017, President Trump made his very famous statement, declaration, that the United States had decided to move its embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And basically he was saying there was a law from 1995, I think under Bill Clinton, where the administration had said that they would move their embassy. And successive presidents have simply not carried out that intention. They had the right not to carry it out. And Trump said, under my administration, we will move the embassy to Jerusalem because we accept it is the capital of the state of Israel. He was doing nothing more than simply stating the fact that since 1949, the Israeli government has had its seat of government in Jerusalem. The Knesset, the parliament is there, the Supreme Court is there, all the ministries are there, all the main institutions are in Jerusalem. So this was no news, but the move of the embassy to Jerusalem sparked somehow an enormous outcry, especially in the Middle East, an enormous amount of confusion. This decision was simply the culmination of a whole series of resolutions and processes, I think since 1967, when Israel won that miraculous Six-Day War, and then again 6 years later, 1973, was the last time the Arab world tried to destroy the state of Israel in the Yom Kippur War. We remember beginning of October 1973. They expected they were going to wipe out the Jewish state. They didn't. Israel managed to survive. And the Arab world said at that moment, and they said it very clearly in November 1973, they will not accept the state of Israel to exist. And instead of attacking it militarily, they will attack it through other means. And have used the UN institutions and other institutions, especially the EU and other multilateral bodies, to kind of undermine the idea of the Jewish state of Israel. Because they claim it is Palestinian, and the Jews have no right to be there. So the Arabs created the Palestine Liberation Organization in 1964. So this was already before the Six-Day War. The PLO, so that's the organization, is set up. Its charter is to liberate Palestine. Palestine is all of Israel, because Palestine is an area. So the whole goal of the PLO is to remove the Zionist cause, the Jews, from Israel. This has been the Arab agenda, and it's become known as the two-state solution, which the Western world has embraced. And so since 1973, we've seen this kind of almost religious determination to create a state of Palestine. And the problem is that Israel has never been able to reach peace with Palestinians through negotiations, for many different reasons. But Israel has always said, we will negotiate, we don't oppose the idea of a state of Palestine, but it will be on the basis that we have secure borders and we have a right to live in Jerusalem, which is our home capital. So we had a series of resolutions over the last year which have specifically focused on Jerusalem. At the end of the Obama administration in December 2016, a Security Council resolution was passed. It was passed because the Americans abstained from voting. And it was Obama and Kerry's last contribution, as it were, to the Middle East, in which it was said that, amongst other things, the settlements are illegal. The Jews have no right to be living in eastern part of Jerusalem and the West Bank, and again emphasizing the need for two states. And in the 12 months since then, we've had a number of resolutions leading up to December last year, before Trump's decision and after it, again saying that Jerusalem belongs to the international community. The Jews have no right to administer it. Israel has no right to administer Jerusalem. And there must be a Palestinian state living with its capital in East Jerusalem. So these resolutions, they say they're based on international law. They're not. International law does not say there has to be a state of Palestine. Even if the Palestinians have a right to self-determination, Israel is a sovereign state and has a right to secure borders, to territorial inviolability, as it's called. And it has a right to negotiate with its neighbours about its own borders. The UN does not have any responsibility or power to impose borders on one state or another. So I think the UN is being used by a number of states, particularly those in the Middle East around Israel, and many states of Europe and other nations are simply going along with this. But we're seeing an increasing number of states who are saying, well, actually, we're not so sure about it. We actually think that maybe Jerusalem does belong to the Jewish people. So in the last resolutions in December, about 2/3 of the states voted in favour, but 1/3 of the states didn't. They abstained or they voted against. And they're asking themselves the question, who does Jerusalem belong to? Who should be in control? And these are the important questions we need to ask and answer. And maybe this whole two-state idea is not such a good idea at all. Maybe there's another alternative. And this is the work we're trying to be involved in and help through international law and other means to find another solution which will bring peace and prosperity. Alpha.